the 2022 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro. We know this one's a real dinosaur because of its lime rush paint that screams, check out my life choices, and the 5-speed automatic transmission that still has just 5 gears. Now, with those minor criticisms out of the way, let's discuss the looks. It looks like a rolling box of adventures just waiting to happen. With the broad front fenders, the wheels, the rooftop ready tent rack on the roof, the skid plate down low, it's just ready to roll. It looks awesome. Now, from the BBS wheels to the TRD branding skid plates and the Fox shocks, this is a branded experience. And in the world of Jelly Bean hybrid crossovers, we really appreciate it. It's just a cool looking rig. Now, be sure to like this video because every like saves one puppy. And let's head over to the interior where Craig discusses what works and what doesn't.
And with that like, you yourself just saved a puppy. Thank you. On to the interior of the TRD Pro. What do we get? Well, we get a very functional, usable space. And compared to its competitors, the Bronco and the JL Wrangler, this is probably a little more livable, a little more usable as a runabout, errand runner, daily grocery getter. It just is. There's some things I really like in here, and I want to point those out. And that is up front here, you get all these off-road controls for A-Track and the off-road cruise control and the MTS and all those fun things. What's cool about it is it may not be the most ergonomic spot for them, but it sure looks cool and you feel like you're doing something when you hit any of those buttons. I also like the trick rear window. Every SUV should have a window that goes down like that. Toyota's been doing it forever and they keep doing it, and I'm glad they are. I also love all the windows are auto down in whatever trim you get. Thank you, Toyota. Everybody should be doing that, and we just really appreciate that. Brian mentioned a branded experience previously in the previous segment, and he's right. It continues on in here. There are no less than 5 TRD logos sitting at you when you sit in this seat, from the shifter to the floor mats to the headrest. But there's more than just the branded experience that makes this a TRD Pro, and let's get into the nuts and bolts section to see exactly what that is.
Here's the fun part, and this is the nuts and bolts, and the most important part to any vehicle is where the rubber meets the road. This is no different. The Pro trim of the 4Runner gives you the Nitto Terra Grappler, and this is a all-terrain. We're going to call this an all-season with more bite, and the good news is it has almost no road noise. This is a 265 7017 that gives you a nice meaty sidewall, and the trade-off is on the highway it's a little bit more wallowy than a highway tire would be, but not cumbersomely so. Now, speaking of ride quality, behind me I have a 2.5 Fox shock damper mounted to a TRD spec coil spring. That's why it's red, and that means it works in the off-road world. That's good news. Up front, the design is a short, long arm suspension. You can see the ball joint is mounted inboard from the wheel. It's not mounted in the barrel of the wheel. You also see the mounting point for the top of the upper control arm and the back have quite the angle on them. And that helps reduce nosedive under normal driving conditions. Now, we've noticed quite a bit because the springs are so soft, but that's part of the trade-off. You do have a dual pot brake up front, a mounted brake caliper, not a floating version, which is nice. The brakes are really good on this rig. And you can see right over here in the corner, that big meaty skid plate to keep all the soft bits and oil coolers nice and safe. Now, in the rear, you have a detached shock and spring. They're divorced. We have a multi-link control arm and a solid rear axle. You also have the 2.5 Fox shock with the external reservoirs to keep the oil cooling down like a lot of Fox products. And that's what makes it work so well in the dirt. Now, let's head up front and talk about what powers this thing.
You saw that big old bulge under the hood? That means there's something big underneath, right? Well, not exactly. And so now it's time for the powertrain portion. Old and reliable is what this is. This is the 1GRFE 3,956cc 24 valve dual hybrid cam all aluminum V6, making 270 horsepower and 278 pound-feet of torque. It's been around since 2003 and it's largely unchanged. There were some updates in 2009 when we got the 5th gen, and they were based on the 2005 2GR engine in most of the cars. One of the big changes was the oil filter was moved down and is no longer on top. That's due to a liquid-cooled oil cooler that was added. They also added some emission-related items. Why? Because they knew they were going to keep this sucker forever and it needed to meet emission standards. You may notice it when you first turn the engine off. You'll hear a weird sound coming from under the hood. Don't fret, it's just to keep water from building up. It's all about reliability, nothing to worry about. A sign of how old it is, this thing still has a vacuum-operated fuel pressure regulator. It's hard to believe this is 2022. As we move to the transmission, it's the same story. Again, it's been around since 2003, known as the A750F, the Ison 7th Gen 5-speed 4Runner application and 4-wheel drive. Only change that has been made is in the 5th gen, it became a sealed unit. That's it. They literally made no other changes. I still recommend flushing that transmission fluid. If there is any benefit, it is that unlike most modern cars, it's not chasing MPG, and it's kind of refreshing. All that's good for an EPA rated 17 city, 20 highway. In the real world, we've noticed about 15, and we'll explain more of why that is when we get it on the road. All right, Ryan, I told you about the dinosaurs in this, but it's reliable. Let's see how it translates on the road.
Let's hit it. Whoa. 40 and 50, 60.
Okay.
All right, we made it. We made it.
So it's, well, Brian, is it quick, fast, slow, average?
You know, it's not that slow, although that number sounded slow. It's not like unreasonably slow.
For what it is.
For what it is. And by the way, we had a little wheel spin, and traction control, even though it was off, did kick in. That made it feel slower than it normally is.
I'll also say your Fox 2.5 shocks that are very soft that you talked about in the
shop,
nuts and bolts do make it feel like it's faster because you get more body motion.
Oh, it's sensation.
It's a sensation.
So,
and a nice TRD exhaust.
Did you say nice?
Well, on acceleration, yes.
Look, I do want to talk about the exhaust real quick.
Okay.
It sounds good in one particular spot.
Wide open throttle.
Wide open throttle at 5,500.
And that's it.
And then the rest of the time, it just kind of drones.
It kind of just wishes.
That right there. Now, I will say, if you're rolling around town, you're not being a monkey, it doesn't really get in your way.
No.
But on a long highway trip, and I do want to talk about that here in just a second, it becomes troublesome.
Okay. Powertrain.
You've already hit all the details on it, Craig.
Mm-hmm.
The 4-liter, look, at its core, it's torquey enough. I think that's fine. It doesn't need to be any faster than it is.
Nah.
It's not slow. It's definitely not fast, but it's totally acceptable.
Right.
Right in the vein of its competition, honestly. Isn't that slow?
True. That's true.
The 5-speed makes it feel slower than it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very happy, and I want to commend Toyota that they've put a noisy exhaust.
Yes.
So it's clear this is not a sewing machine, turbocharged, small displacement, something under the hood.
Sure.
So it has some charm in that regard. And around town, that really works for it. What doesn't work for it is sustained highway speeds.
Yeah.
Texas highway speeds are anywhere from 75 to 85.
Mm-hmm.
Posted speed limit.
Mm-hmm.
This thing will not hold overdrive.
You're being fourth gear the whole way.
And that's because it's a bread box.
And so then you get what mileage?
15 miles a gallon.
Exactly.
Highway. And that's not great. Now, city is about the same as well, so it's 15 all around.
And therein lies the problem with with this vehicle. It's great. It's reliable. It's dependable.
Sure.
It's got old school charm because it's the same thing since 2003.
Which
is good and bad.
I kind of like that. I'm glad you can
There
still
are
get
good
that.
parts about that. There are bad parts
Right.
about that. Okay, but to the suspension, you wanted to get into some of the what's it do on the trail, because if you got Fox suspension, you want to take it off road, right? So how does it do
when
that?
you think Fox, you think, well, this is going to be fast in the dirt.
Yeah, Baja. You think
Sure. Well, the problem is that the TRD Pro doesn't get like a special engine.
No.
So it's not any faster. In fact, it has a taller tire, so it's actually a little slower on pavement.
Right. It doesn't get re-geared.
Doesn't get re-geared or anything like that. And then around town, it's so soft that you find yourself wallowing a lot. Like it doesn't inspire any confidence. It leans a ton. It nosedives under normal inputs.
Yeah.
And then we get on a dirt road, you're like, okay, well, it's going to ride really good. Well, it does. It actually does ride.
Smooth. It's very smooth.
It's smooth. But it doesn't inspire speed or confidence.
No.
Whereas the Ranger Trimmer we recently drove really hit the sweet spot on that.
It really did.
I wish this did that better.
Yeah.
And if you put any weight in the rear at all, your headlights are pointing in the sky now because it sags so much.
Yeah.
And you actually find the bump stops a little bit
more
than you think you would. So the suspension travels on enough to be a desert runner.
Nope.
It's a little too wally for a trail rig to be. I don't know. Maybe that is good on the trail. You can't go quickly. It's not fast.
And we've just tripped ourselves into the ongoing Toyota 4Runner suspension debate of TRD Pro with the Fox shocks, or the previous TRD Pro with the Bill Steins, or the TRD Off-Road with the KDSS, or just any 4Runner with non-KDSS and do what you want with it. There you are. And there's a whole forum and community for that, and they're trying to figure that out and let us know what you do.
And so I've spoken to some 4Runner owners that have the non-KDSS off-road version. See, the exhaust sounds good on throttle.
Yeah.
It just drones everywhere else.
Exactly.
And the input from that is that suspension's terrible. You wanted to get this one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm here to tell you this isn't brilliant.
No.
So for me, and I don't know about you, but I feel like I would get the off-road trim and then do my own suspension work if I wasn't happy with that.
Yeah, if I wanted to actually wheel it, I actually wanted to take it on trails all the time, I would do exactly that.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to do that, because if I'm being honest with myself, I'm not going to do that. So
Right.
I would probably just put different tires and go with the KDSS so I kind of get the best of both worlds.
Okay. I think there's one last thing we're gonna do in here.
Yeah, and it's pretty good at this last thing. That is the Hipster Score.
Yes.
So, Brian, I'm wearing flannel. You had some flannel. I don't know what you did with it. You
Took it off, yeah.
But I'm curious how this thing ranks.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, 8.
7.
Okay,
7.
so we're kind of right on the same ballpark there.
You're not far off on that.
I will add a caveat, an asterisk to my 8.
Okay.
It should be a 4 or a 5.
I completely agree. And I think, well, tell me why. I think we're on the same page.
What I mean by it should be is hipsters love this thing. You drive through certain parking lots and
Sure.
You get a lot of attention.
Absolutely.
But it's not as hipstery. The normal things that hipsters look for, it's not there. Fuel economy,
Right.
capability,
Parkability.
livability, overlandability.
Eco-friendliness, right.
None of
High
that's-
tech, doesn't have any of that. Right.
It's not really there like it should be for the score that hipsters are going to give it. So,
Right. But it has the look.
Has the look,
And I think
no.
that's part of the thing of this is it has the look. It talks the talk. I'm not sure that it walks the walk.
it looks
and
like the
it's
lifestyle of that.
Totally.
The whole overland adventure, outdoorsy. It looks like that.
So you're calling it an 8, probably should be a 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
Okay. With that, hill test.
So, all right, Brian, you got a lot of goodies at your disposal, from MTS to off-road trail control,
Right.
to A-track, to
Right.
locker, to 4 high, to 4 low. What are you going to go with?
I'm going to turn it all off,
Okay.
and I'm going to go into 4 high
Okay.
and just see what happens.
Traction control off, 4 high.
Exactly.
All right, let's do it.
So we don't have torque multiplication in 4 low.
Okay.
Let's see if this 4-liter has enough to crawl itself up a hill
Okay.
in high gear. So we're coming up on the obstacle,
There's the ledge.
front wheels on the ledge, little crawl.
Okay.
Ooh, right up.
Okay, right up there.
Front diff's up. Let's get the rear. Just like that.
All right, so you can get your groceries over the obstacle and home.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
on that note, let's go to the store real quick.
Let's go. All right, well, thanks for watching this episode. It is time to wrap it up and get our closing thoughts and figure out who this car is for.
Oh, hipsters. It's for
hipsters.
yeah,
Is that
for
why
hipsters.
we're here? Where we're
That's,
at?
well, yeah, obviously.
Okay, all right.
I've been shopping.
What do you got in the bag
I've been
there?
shopping.
Been shopping?
I got you some kombucha.
Kombucha.
Yeah, kombucha.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but hipsters drink kombucha.
Do you drink this?
Yeah, you drink this.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
I'm down with that.
Thumbs up. Oh, what's it sour?
Oh, what's wrong with it?
It tastes like vinegar.
Okay, well, here's her. It's also for the JVin spec Mr. Toyota man. This thing is really for that.
For you. It's also for moms. Don't forget moms.
Oh, moms like this too.
You don't want the Tahoe. You want to look more rugged.
Yeah.
The Jeep's too much. You don't want to do the topless Jeep thing.
Exactly.
Got you covered.
And with that, Toyota has figured out something special, and that is it appeals to a lot of people. It used to be not too long ago in the 3rd generation, before they remodeled this sucker, they only sold 20,000 units a year. Since like 2015 on, Brian, they've sold 120,000 a year of these
That's
suckers.
quite a bit.
A lot of people are buying these.
Absolutely, quite a bit. And on that note,
The honk says it's over.
it's over. We're gonna do it again?
I think we're good.
Think we're good?
Yeah.
Well, we gotta close it, so.
And that's the close.
Oh, well, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. That helps us keep making these silly videos. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, save a puppy.
By the way, this is not very good.
No, not good. Don't get it.
Got it. All right, trash.